Hello everybody and welcome to RCR round 23. We're here in Abu Dhabi, the Yas Marina circuit for what will be a grand adventure into the penultimate round of the season. Abu Dhabi then, famous for many things, including Abu Dhabi 21, which I'm sure many people will remember. 16 turns, 5.281 kilometers, 3.281 miles. It's got 16 corners of epic action all the way through and 2 DRS zones, one on the back straight and one on the start-finish straight as well. Go over the standings as we get into the final rounds. There is now 21 points between Binary and I, Mr. DJ, CJ having to do an astronomical amount, to be honest, to be able to stay within this championship. It's still not out of the realms of possibility. Binary, if he does have a shocking race, he will obviously be caught up by CJ, so long as CJ in turn has a good race. There's lots to play, lots to think about. The Constructors' Championship is obviously done, and now CJ is guaranteed second at least. There's plenty going on further down the field. Obviously, Lex and BXTN are battling between themselves for third in the championship. As I said before, the two straights, sorry, not on the start-finish straight, I mentioned in the intro, the start-finish straight between turns 5 and 6, and then the second between 7 and 8. Obviously, Max Verstappen, if we mentioned 2021, again, Max Verstappen going in for these overtake to win his championship on the turn 5 before the start-finish straight, in quite a shock move that definitely took Hamilton by surprise. Calendar then, as you can see, we've completed 22 rounds so far of our season. We're now on round 23 of 24. We're nearly there. We're nearly to the end. And I can't believe it, but we've still got a championship battle on our hands, which is actually insane when you consider it because, well, it's 24 rounds of a season between, you know, they're not all pros, these drivers. They certainly have pace, but they're definitely not of the esports caliber. And I'm sure that they'll all hold their hands up and say that. Maybe a couple of them will say, hang on a minute, that's not true. But either way, to go all the way down, for some of them to go all the way down to the wire, or even two of them all the way down to the wire, because it is guaranteed that they all go all the way down to, or at least the fact that Binary can win this race, win the championship this race. But it has gone 23 rounds without knowing who the driver's champion is, as we go on board with Huff and Dolbach, who at the moment is setting a lap time, all on soft tyres, obviously. I'll get rid of his telemetry. I do that every single time, so he can't do it without fail now. And we're on board with Huff and Dolbach as he goes round onto the DRS straight. DRS wide open and gunning it all the way down to this tricky section, the left, right, and it goes slightly uphill. You can easily lose the car here. Under turning, gets bumped over that curb, lifts the car up slightly, but maintains the pace and runs the car out to the outside of the track. You want to do that because you're going to maximize as much straight line speed as possible. Coming down here, sweeping left-hander and into this magnificent sweeping right that comes up after it. And we'll go on board with him for that. It's almost like a triple apex. Gets that nicely. In sector 3 we go. Speaking of sectors, get our little handy dandy map on the screen. Huff and Dolbach then cross the line. It's a 1:23.212, and to be honest with you, I'm not even sure if that how competitive that time is really. That's BX10's crossing the line. That's that's Chris Takis. Cross the line, BX10's not here. Chris Takis changes colours. Lex crossed the line with the 22.967. So Lex at the moment. We need to now detail who's got the best lap so far, and that is Lex Santry pipping Huff and Dolbach. We're on board at the moment with David Kovalaki as he rounds out the final few turns as he goes past the place where Nicholas Latifi crashed. That's the third time I've mentioned 2021, and it will be probably not the last. Anyway, across the line, puts in a 23.790, and he's not going to be happy with that time because it is the last time that has been set so far. So David Kovalaki got some pace to find a whole chunk of 5/10 off Huff and Dolbach at the moment. Chris Takis is on a lap at the moment. So is Mr. DJ CJ. He needs a good showing today, as I said before. Ace navigating the first sector. We'll go back to Chris Takis. Very interesting livery on that car. Lots of smiley faces. Maybe you'll have all smiles today if he puts it for a race win or a podium. He's definitely got the pace to do so. Got his first podium last week. Or was it the week before? Can't remember. I think it was the week before, actually. I think he's got 2 podiums in a row now, actually, thinking about it. Yeah, he does. Chris Takis puts in a 23.576. That will put him in 4th place, ahead of David Kovalaki, but behind Huff and Dolbach. Second in the championship. Hustling that car along as he comes up to the start finish line. Let's see what he can do. It's a 23.4, puts him ahead of Chris Takis, behind Huff and Dolbach. 23.4 though. Great time from Mr. DJ CJ. Him and Binary, both of them, qualifying quite low down these past few weeks. Finishing high. FR Element with that Senna liveried car as Ace comes up to the line as well, kicking it out of the final corner with a 25.022. Way off the pace then for Ace, who's going to want to reevaluate and maybe just be a little bit less aggressive on the steering and the throttle. As FR Element says, you do a 25.0, I can do one better. A 25.1 goes even further behind the rest of the pack. I need an invite, mate. Okay, I'll see if I can get you in. I don't think I've got you on my friends list. I do not. Do you have anyone who's in the Discord? Oh, there you go. You've joined. Fantastic. At least it's that. Yeah, you will see ads. It's unfortunate, but you will see them. You can go for some ad-free viewing if you go over to YouTube. I'll say that in the chat just so then you see it. YouTube for ad-free. Same name as the YouTube, as the Twitch channel. You can just go over to YouTube, subscribe, get some ad-free viewing. Alternatively, you can always fork up some cash and pay. But I don't expect anyone to do that. It would literally just be as a thank you for my magnificent commentary. Either way. Huff and Dolbach back out on a lap again. We'll stick on board with Lex this time though, because he has put in the fastest time of anybody so far and is going around again to do so. And we didn't really see him cross the line as Slazenger Volvo also joins the session as well. Got plenty of drivers in here today. I thought we were only starting with 11. Now we've got 14. So happy days. Great to see the league maintaining its members all the way to the end of the season. It's no easy feat at all. Anybody that thinks, I can keep 20 drivers absolutely hooked for 24 weeks of committed Tuesdays at 9:30 p.m, got another thing coming, you're a bit delusional. It's an incredible feat that the league owner has managed to keep even 14 drivers on this track, or on the track, for 24 rounds nearly now. We're in 5 seasons of it as well. Magnificent job as we watch Lex try to beat his already fast time. 3/10 up on Santry, the second fastest driver on the track at the moment. And Lex at the moment will be putting in what he believes is going to be a stellar time as he comes up to that second sector now. See the sections of track cut out, the white lines across each. As he crosses it, goes a tenth faster, nearly 2/10 faster from Lex as he comes into sector 3, down through turn 9, up to 10. And as I said before, a triple apex, 10, 11, 12. Then get the car slowed down, hooked in, get on the power as soon as possible. Drift the car over, let it roll over to the left, back past through turns 15, 16. Up to 15 and 16, sorry. And then, as Lex has unfortunately invalidated his lap time, then hooked it all up in a magnificent fashion. And I was on board with Lex as he did 2/10 faster. Huff and Dorback going 3/10 faster though, putting it on provisional pole. And let's join binary then. Our championship leader, currently 21 points ahead of Mr. DJ CJ. There is absolutely no doubt in anybody's mind that he does not deserve this. He has absolutely stormed this season, been behind CJ for a number of races and stayed committed. And now, in the final few rounds, has pulled out a 21-point lead. It got as close, it got as close as 0 points, 2 points even between the two of them, fluctuating this way and that. And he didn't give in. And now he's got 9 race wins this season. 9 race wins to his name. 12 podiums, 349 points. And will he add to his tally even further today? We'll certainly hope so. CJ will certainly hope to take away from it. We're on board with him as he crosses the line. It's a 22. It's not. It's a 22-3. Puts him down in 5th place. But more importantly for him, still just ahead of Mr. DJ CJ. I'm the Pog coming round, finishing his lap. Sorry, it's a 23-1 for him. Puts him way ahead in 4th place. That's the second row on the grid provisionally for I'm the Pog. Will go on board with Slazenger of Volvo as well. In fact, we'll join Owen as he puts in the fastest second sector of anybody so far. Rounding out these final few corners in sector 3 now. Turns 13 and 14. Very tricky to get 14 right. You drift out towards the barriers and you've got to do nothing but just put the power down and skim the outside curbings, the outside barrier, as Owen puts in a 23.052 and Slazenger of Volvo. What time has he got in his pocket? Very fast driver, Slaz. It's a 20. Oh, as he almost loses the back end of the car. It's a 23.0. And I think that would have been ahead of Lex, maybe between Websy and Lex there, if he hadn't lost the back end on the final corner. Classy Goblin, the only driver left to set a time, but he's very, doesn't usually set a time at all, does Classy Goblin, so not expecting anything less today. And Dorback on provisional pole. He's had a pole position already this season. He was threatening it for a long time. Finally got it. And well done to him as well for that. Come such a long way in terms of his pace, in terms of his ability. And the times that these drivers set, they're not, again, they're not esports times, but they're not slow. Anybody that thinks they're any kind of proficient at this game will definitely come into this and struggle. So then, the calm before the storm, as I always mention, and we've got David Kovalaki and FR Element as FR Element goes over the barrier and almost into the wall, I believe. I think he just got away with that, flying over that sausage curb and almost ending up with being resigned to be 13th and last apart from Costany Goblin. And David Kovalaki as well. Let's see what he can do. As these two drivers out on the track at the moment, going before anybody else, this will be their last runs, their last attempts. They'll be able to have 2 stabs at it if they wait. You know, if they mess up the first lap, they can quickly stop as long as it's at the beginning of the lap. If they mess it up, they can quickly stop, recharge the batteries before they get to the flag to the line, and try again. So they can get 2 stabs out of it with the time remaining, but they won't be able to get 2 flying laps, including a cooldown in between with the time remaining. So now or never for both FR Element and David Kovalaki, as FR Element comes up to turn 5. A wide hairpin that shoots you out onto the DRS straight. Quite a long DRS zone between turns 5 and 6. And this is where we see many overtakes of the drivers opting to stay behind and utilize this one here. And the DRS detection zone actually for the second DRS straight after the turn, which is quite unusual. After turn 7, that's where you get your detection point. So if you're behind the car ahead after the first DRS zone, you get the helping. Sometimes the FIA likes to put DRS zones in place for a double DRS. So if the driver is still behind, then they get it. Or if the driver gets ahead, then they get to maintain their newfound lead. This one definitely ruling in favour of ruthless aggression, as David Kovalaki, FR Element, decides I have not done a good enough job here to finish my lap, to finish a lap. He's not going to get enough time to come back out again, surely. As we've got a yellow flag in sector 3. I think that's just a driver moving. Yes, it is. It's just a driver moving slowly to allow others to pass, I assume. Or just to give himself some space. I think that's Chris Takis. David Kovalaki moving up into 10th place. We're now going to join the rest of the field. Who is out on a lap? That's Santry, who's on an out lap. I'm Mr. DJ CJ has begun his lap. Where is everybody else? Owen, the track. Not ahead of CJ. I'm the Pog, way ahead. As I'm the Pog, 3/10 up on his time and fastest in the second sector. Let's see what I'm the Pog has. As in the way, a driver in the way on the racing line. I think that was Santry. It wasn't Santry. That must have been Websy then. Anyway, I'm the Pog invalidates his lap time. That is unfortunate. Websy on the racing line. I'm his DJ CJ coming up to the start finish line now. He's finishing his lap. He'll be the first one of the rest. This will be his final attempt at a lap time here. He's got a nice clear track above him, in front of him. Coming around the final corner. Let's see what he can do. It's a 23-1. Puts him up into 7th ahead of Binary. Who else is coming across the line soon? We've got... That was Chris Takis, I believe, across the line. And now we've got Owen coming up to the line as well. As we've got a yellow in sector 3 again, and that is a driver off the track. As Owen puts in a 22.7. And Binary doing his lap still. Slazenger Volvo comes into the pits. Lex is about to cross the line. Let's see. Lex puts it on provisional pole. Let's see. 22.609. Well done to Lex for managing to get that time in amidst all the chaos. I think it was David Kovalaki who went off the track, going through the field as quickly as I can to try and find who else is on a time. Websy coming up to the start finish line. No, he boxes as well. Websy not on a fast lap actually. Binary then. Coming up to the line, it's a 23, I think. It's a 22.8. Massive time from Binary. Moves him straight up into 5th place. That's the 3rd row of the grid for Binary. And that, I believe, is your qualifying order. I don't think anyone has anything left to give. No more times to come across the line. Let's have a look. Looks like a slow-moving Chris Takis down in 8th place. Just ahead of our Mr. DJ CJ. So CJ has it to do then. Got Binary ahead in a place where he doesn't really want him to be. And that is our starting order. I'm going to go through it once we end this session. Not impressed at all. I doubt you are with that. You're way on the race. He was just on the racing line, wasn't he? Didn't move over. Very disappointing from Websy. Normally a lot better than that, but I think he... Well, no excuses. You should be aware of drivers who carry so much more speed than you as you're doing your preparation lap. And I'm sure Websy, being the character that he is, will hold his hands up. Such a shame, as you were fastest in the second sector, as I said before. This is Pog I'm speaking to, by the way, in the Twitch chat. Just a shame, isn't it, really? There's nothing more that can be added than that. So then, let's go through our order one more time as we finish this qualifying session. Lex then gets provisional pole. Yet again, another pole for Lex. It's incredible how many poles he's had this season. Got a pole last race as well. Either way, Lex starts on the front row along with Huff and Dorback. Huff and Dorback again at the sharp end. Websy and Owen on the second row. Binary and Slazenger Volvo on the third. Binary, importantly, ahead of CJ and the pod. Chris Takis on the third. I'm Mr. DJ, CJ Santry, David Kovalaki, Ace, FR Element, and Cottony Goblin. That's your 14 starters that will start this race in that order on the grid of Abu Dhabi, the Yas Marina circuit. This circuit has an advanced track design with 6 different configurations to suit different racing series, including Formula 1. The track has a number of unique features. A tunnel is part of the pit lane, the very famous tunnel, as some drivers always consider, what happens if I spin in a tunnel, or what happens if I crash in a tunnel? It's a blind turn and nobody cares. It goes straight underneath the track and then you shoot back out onto the circuit itself. It's very unique indeed. The drivers are on full power for 69% of the lap at the Yas Marina circuit, including the 14 seconds that I mentioned before on the long back straight, one of the longest straights in Formula 1. Drivers must average around 68 gear, well, make an average, sorry, not must average, make an average of 68 gear changes per lap, or 3,740 gear changes over the 55 lap difference. Half 3,740, and you get how many gear changes the drivers will be doing on average today, as Websy does apologise to Mr. Pog for his transgressions. Lex has managed to get himself back into the session. Luckily for him, because he will be starting on pole position. Kimi Räikkönen once said of the Yas Marina circuit, the first few turns are quite good, but the rest of it is shit. It's actually quite a good track, to be fair. Räikkönen, obviously known for his bluntness. He actually did go on to win the race in 2012. It's his only victory in Abu Dhabi. He won it in a Lotus. The Finn started from 4th in the race, which provided some memorable radio transmissions, including I Know What I'm Doing, or Shut Up, I Know What I'm Doing. I forget which order it was in, which is very terrible, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Let's have a look at the standings again as well. Actually, while I waffle on and waste all my Abu Dhabi facts, we're going to just have a look one more time. I'm TJ. CJ needs to score a significant amount of points over Binary today to remain within this championship. He needs to remain within 26 points of Binary to remain in the championship fight to say it's viable. Or 20, sorry, he needs to be within 27 points, because he needs to finish a point ahead, because Binary will win on wins if CJ ties points with him. Either way, Binary on a whopping 349 points. CJ on 328. If Binary outscores CJ by 4 points or more this race, he will be champion. And as it stands at the moment, with CJ where he is, that is exactly enough. Well, it's not exactly, but that will be enough points for Binary to do so. So, as I mentioned, every race, for anybody that is new, that just so happens across our little stream that is watching and hasn't watched before. We do have a little bit of a lull between the races, about 5 minutes after qualifying finishes and before the race start. That's just to allow for the drivers to select their strategies and have a quick break, maybe a cheeky drink here with a cup of tea. That 5 minutes is enough time for a cup of tea, unless you got the kettle right next to you, though. Okay, then they're on the way. I'm about to say I don't have audio, but now I do have audio. Lex at the moment doesn't have control of his car, but I think that's because he couldn't pick his car, which means for Lex he doesn't have control of his car to start the race, which in turn means that Hoffendorback will probably take over or overtake Lex going into the first turn, because an AI will be driving the car for him before the start of the race, and then Lex will have to quickly navigate to pick his car, and then yeah, he'll have to get on his merry way and pray that he doesn't cause any havoc being out of the car and having the AI drive it for him at the start of the race. So drivers have to be mindful that Lex will be retaking control of his car and will be slow moving and may just unghost at a terrible time. So yeah, either way, something to look out for, and it won't be a big surprise if Hoffendorback gets past Lex into turn one. It won't be a big surprise if Websy manages to as well before Lex manages to get control of his car. If you are new here, if you are new on either YouTube or if you are new on Twitch, I would appreciate a follow or a subscription. You do not have to, obviously, and I do not expect anybody to, but it does help me a lot, so thank you very much. In fact, I've just got another subscriber now, so I'd like to thank you very much. I believe that was Mr. Pog, so appreciate that. Turn down. Okay then, drivers all lining up on the grid now. Lex, unfortunately for him, doesn't have control of his car, so won't be getting the ideal start he needs. So let's watch Hoffendorback off the line then to see them all. The gladiators looming, presiding over the Colosseum that is the Abu Dhabi circuit. Here we go then, lights on. It's lights out, and away we go. Hoffendorback, of course, gets off the line extremely well, but Lex, I think, has managed to get control of his car early on. In fact, no, he doesn't, as early on loses that place to Hoffendorback, and now has to defend from Owen, who's overtaking Wesley, and Lex has DNF from the race. What has happened there? And I'm the Pog all the way down in 13th. I'm not sure what happened there. I was looking down the wrong side of the table, admittedly. I'm Mr. CJ down in 9th. We're going to have to quickly look over who's lost places here. As Websy retakes 3rd place. As Binary's moving down the field with Chris Takis overtaking inside turn 1. And quickly there, Santry bumps the back of Binary. And I'm not sure if he's got some wing damage there. I don't think he does. He's managed to get away with that nicely. Lex has rejoined the session, but it would be all for naught. His car isn't in it. He's DNF'd. Massive upset for Lex. As on board with Websy we go. Who's chasing down Owen at the moment, who's chasing down Hoffendorback, who really needs to break the toe here. DRS activated after lap 1, and you will get DRS after lap 1 because the detection zone is within the 2nd lap. And here we go then, they come up to the line in order. Hoffendorback, Owen, Websy, Saz, Chris, Binary, Santry, CJ's moved up a place in 8th, David Kovalaki, Ace, FR Element, Cotton Goblin, and I'm the Pog, way back in 13th. I'm sure he's the one who had some contact with either the AI of Lex or just Lex in general. I'm not sure. Either way, Lex will be very disappointed with this result here today. Chris Takis looks like he is closing up to Strategy Volvo, has plenty of pace, already dropped 7/10 to Binary behind, and Binary clearly struggling at the moment. Let's have a look to see what the tyres are, what the situation is on those. Slaz opting for the alternate strategy as usual. That's about 4 races in a row that he's opted to do that. I believe that I've made note of anyway. Cottony Goblin and I'm the Pog as well, both on the hard tyre. The rest of them on the medium for the time being. You can see there, Santry in the background of Binary, closing in. And Chris Takis, as I said, has buckets of pace. Owen takes the lead of this race early on lap 2, down that back straight. Second of the start, the second of the DRS straights. I keep calling DRS straights start-finish straights, and I have no idea why. As Mystery 36PL says, Lex for the win. I'm very sorry, but Lex is out. And Dolbach now down in third place, losing 2 places early on. I wonder if he's cooked his tyres. Probably not, though, because we're on the mediums and they last a little bit longer than just a few laps. Van Dolbach, though, clearly struggling, had immense pace in the qualifying, but now is proving in race trim to be struggling. And we're on board with Santry as Binary starts to lose touch with Slazenger of Volvo outside of the DRS, and I think he was outside the DRS on the detection zone. We'll see that now, whether it's true or not. It is true, and that is going to hurt Binary's chances here. Probably using as much battery as possible to try and stay within touch of those ahead. And does get DRS this time, I'm sure. As Santry has a little bit of a moment. That's allowed CJ to close up a little bit, but not enough to make an overtake here. These two in the championship fight that I keep on mentioning. It's 21 points between the two of them, Binary and Amish DJ CJ. Keep qualifying low, keep finishing a little bit higher. Although last week, Binary finished 4th place and CJ finished in 5th, I believe. Let me just double check that information. Yes. Quite unfortunate indeed. Like he, just to respond to you, he started off so well. If he got control of his car, and it's just, I don't know. I think it was just one of them things. He got control of his car and it was all a bit haywire because he was a bit slow off the line due to the fact that it was an AI controlling it. So Santry has dropped out of DRS from Binary now and is now under threat from Mr. DJ CJ. We've got Ace in the pits already, changing a front wing more than likely. As Mr. DJ CJ says, thank you very much to Santry, and heads past. Into 7th place he goes, and now behind his nemesis, his teammate, and his title rival as we are in the penultimate round of this season. Got a mighty performance to pull off, though, has Mr. DJ CJ. 1.6 seconds away from Binary, and in desperate need of closing that gap up before we get to the DRS detection zones again. Hard on the brakes there. You can see a slight lockup. I think it's paid off for him. Gains 2 tenths on Binary, who has closed in on Slazenger. CJ gaining 3 tenths. Got a caution in sector 3. It's 2 drivers coming together. That's David Kovalaki and Santry. And have we got some wing damage as well? Yes, we do, for David Kovalaki, who goes to go into the pits, avoids the pit lane. Both of them do the same thing. They cut across as Santry goes ahead into 11th place. I don't know whose fault it were, but that'll be very disappointing for all of them, as CJ has almost got within DRS, but I don't think he's managed to do it. And Santry retires from the session, crashes out on track, and brings out a safety car. So it is a safety car between all these drivers. Those on the hard tyre will be very, very disappointed with the early safety car. Those on the medium, I think it may be early enough to switch. As Ace breathes a sigh of relief as he comes up to the start-finish line. He's just boxed. Had his new front wing put on early on. He's going to get to go past the safety car, because that is waiting for the leader. The leader of this race now Websy, after Lex's foray into a wall and Huff and Dolbach's loss of places early on. Van in second place on the grid, now down in third place. As all the drivers file into the pit lane. And unfortunately for them, we're using the F1 World Car. So unfortunately, Chris Takis tries to do a bold move on Huff and Dolbach and takes off a part of his wing. He's going to regret that. And he also regrets it even further because, as I was about to say, they're using the F1 World Car, which unfortunately means for him that he doesn't know who his teammate is. He doesn't know who is following into the pit lane. Drivers gaining places from it. I'm DJ CJ. In 6th, Binary 7th. Chris Takis with a massive crash. Well, I say massive. He was only like... His only saving grace was the fact that they were all going so slow. Lost part of his front wing. And that's a very ironic thing to have on your Halo after doing something like that. Keep calm and no heroics into Sandoval. Well, no heroics into the pit lane as well, Chris Takis. And you will find yourself with an intact front wing in future. Websy then. Leading this field as Chris Takis. Having a little look. I don't know why he's driving a bit angry maybe at the moment. It's not making much sense. But either way, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've just seen that and then thought that he's maybe just misjudged his braking. Either way, he's going to want to keep a level head for the remainder of this race. He's definitely got the pace to pull it back a bit. He's had a bit of a moment. He's on the right strategy. He's on the strategy with everybody else, and that's exactly what is key to maintaining at least some consistency within this race. He's got Slazenger Volvo on the medium tyre Cottony, and I'm the Pog as well. FR Element opting to go for the soft tyre for some reason. Interesting strategy from FR, but not without. It's not without, you know, you got to take chances sometimes. You've got to take chances. And that's exactly what FR Element's doing. He may be able to cut his way through the field and pray for another safety car. But at the moment, these drivers going around and around. Usually the safety car's out for 3 laps and then comes back in. Of course, Abu Dhabi, famous for a lot of season-ending races. 2010 being one of them. Fernando Alonso, Mark Webber, Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton, all significant names in the history of Formula 1, were in contention for the World Drivers' Championship coming into the decider at Yas Marina, that's this circuit, in 2010, despite being 15 points adrift of the championship leader Fernando Alonso. Before the race, Sebastian Vettel kept his cool and took the win to become the youngest ever F1 World Champion at 23 years, 134 days. One of Fernando's stellar seasons that ended, unfortunately, in yet another championship loss. It's been close so many times as Fernando Alonso. Definitely a driver deserving of more championships, but wrong decisions, wrong team moves, and unlucky, really, unlucky spells have kind of pulled it away from him. You do need raw talent, ability, consistency, and luck to be a champion in Formula 1. You need all those things to come into play. And some people will say, all you need is a fast car. Well, you have to be lucky enough to get the fast car, so those people, I say, shut up. Websy, Owen, Huff and Dobak, Slaz, Binary. I'm Mr. DJ, CJ, Chris Takis, Cottony Goblin, FR Element. I'm the Pog, David Kovalaki, and 8 are remaining drivers in this session as Websy leads them all around as the safety car is coming in this lap. And we're about to get underway. Websy, no stranger to safety car restarts, will no doubt want to get this one absolutely perfect. Weaving left to right, looking like he's warming up his tyres. And he's managed to do so, manages to pull away from Owen, who does get himself on the power. It was a short run down to turn 14. And he's managed to stick with Websy, albeit just 5.5 tenths behind. Huffendolbach as well, keeping in touch. I think the best driver at the moment that's kept with his rival ahead would be FR Element, who's hot on the heels of Cotton and Goblin. And we'll see some pace. We'll see some overtakes as well from Slazenger Volvo, no doubt about that, as he's on these fresh medium tyres, which are faster than the hards. Obviously, the more durable tyre, but they're not as quick over in the first few laps. They are maybe as quick over a long stint. Slazenger Volvo having to utilise these medium tyres to absolute perfection. He's going to have to make some early overtakes. As speaking of overtakes, I'm the Pog does get past FR Element as he tries to cut his way back through the field. Was far down. He's going to be very thankful for this safety car. Although, did have to change onto the medium tyre. But it's not all roses for Pog at the moment. Websy pulling out a massive 8 tenths on Owen, 3 tenths throughout the course of this lap. And that's got to feel good as he starts to pull away, starts to eke out a bit of an advantage, and that's exactly what he needs. Especially when the driver behind the driver in pursuit is on the same strategy as he is. He want to put himself some distance between himself and those that can scupper his chances. And our two championship contenders, two teammates, keep mentioning this, two teammates as well. They won the Constructors' Championship, but it was never about the Constructors' Championship. When it came to these two, they had that in the bag already. They've got the rise on the ultimate prize, and that is the RCR Season 5 Championship, the RCR Season 5 Drivers' Championship, in which they will get a trophy for. 4 drivers before them. BXTN, who's not racing today. Eclipse PR, who's not racing today. And Slazenger of Volvo. 2 trophies for him. Twice he's won RCR Drivers' Championship in Season 3 and Season 4. Closing in is our Mr. DJ CJ. And Binary at the moment, I feel, will be thinking, I wish I never had to change to these hard tyres so early on, because he is clearly struggling on them at the moment and needs to put a car's distance between him and CJ, and will be wanting to overtake the Slazenger of Volvo, who is losing pace from the drivers ahead despite him having the tyre advantage. Speaking of losing pace, Owen at the moment under pressure from Huffendolbach, who's looking to retake the lead of this race, in which he started on the front row. He's now down in what would be the second row if this was the starting order, the grid order, down in 3rd place. Still a podium for Huffendolbach, but he's definitely got his sights set on more with the pace that he had in qualifying. It's been a great race so far. With that unfortunate safety car that was inexplicably caused by Santry after he spun out of the race. Maybe something for the stewards to look into with Santry. Not sure if he just lost it on his own or if it was something more sinister, but either way, definitely spice up this race to no end. And at the moment, Binary and CJ side by side. Binary managing to stay ahead. CJ still just 2 tenths behind. And Binary knows he needs to keep CJ behind. He needs to keep CJ behind for him to win this championship today rather than next week. And I'm sure in Binary's mind, he just wants to be sure. He's already got one hand on the trophy. Got a yellow in Sector 3. I think that is FR Element moving slowly but managing to get it back on the track. Ace as well. These two already losing touch with the rest of the field. As David Kovalaki closes in and overtakes Cottony Goblin into the hairpin corner. And Cottony not doing much to defend against that. And also, David Kovalaki gets DRS as well. Cottony slots in behind. And the Pog, 2.3 seconds. Behind Chris Takis. Wonder what's happened there. Pog, not really enjoying much luck in these races, is he? And Owen has lost the place to Huffendorback. So Huffendorback is the fastest man on the track at the moment at 1:25.493. Solidifies his pace as he closes up to Websy, who had a massive 8 tenths between him and Owen, but now has just 5 tenths between him and Huffendorback, as Huffendorback starting to reel in the experienced veteran. Played many an F1 game in many a league as Websy. Played F1 1967 when it first came out, and every single one since that. And Websy's lost the lead of this race. I can't believe we missed that, actually. I don't know why we missed that. Either way, Websy now down in second place, as I need to wake up to these overtakes that are unfolding before us. Lap 13 of 29 begins. We're getting very close to halfway distance. CJ still behind Binary, who is in turn behind Schlesinger and Volvo. And CJ at the moment still fighting, looking for a way past. All these drivers also so close together. We've got a bit of the DRS train forming at the moment as CJ watches. Binary overtakes Slaz and go on to take 4th place and close in on a podium. CJ struggling there out of turn 7. I mentioned before, it's the uphill camber that really offsets the car, really upsets the downforce of CJ. Deep down on the inside, manages to take 5th place away from Schlesinger Volvo and set back after Binary yet again. Wasted no time in making sure that he stayed within touching distance of the rear wing of Binary. And now 3 tenths again between these two. And they're being oh so careful with each other. You could see that CJ just throwing it on the inside and managing to make that move stick. But when he closes in on Binary, it's a different story. Too much to lose for both of them. Everything becoming amplified, more intense. And there's not been a single moment in this race that hasn't thrown up a question. As in, like, how Chris Takis has managed to close in on Schlesinger so quickly and overtake him. Are Schlesinger's tyres going off now already? And are the hards coming into their own? CJ's managed to... Sorry, that's Chris Takis. I was about to say CJ's managed to lose time to Binary, but he hasn't. Just a 10th further back than he were before. But it's actually Binary that's closing in on Owen, who is closing in on Websy. Binary on the inside of Owen there, trying to race hard. I don't know why he's done that. That's really put him under pressure from the car behind. Trying to put some distance between him and CJ. Is looking a bit desperate now, isn't it, out there between the two of them? As CJ, is that CJ? It's CJ. He's lost the back end, maybe. Or been crashed into. We didn't quite see it there. He's now back down in 7th place. Be very upset with that. Good news for Binary. As it stands, he will win the championship here today. And yet again, CJ with the monumental task of closing up. Closing in a seat as Websy retakes the lead away from Huff and Dorback. These two swapping places over and over again because the driver ahead doesn't get DRS. If they're not within a second of a car ahead, they don't get the DRS. So, as displayed here with this amazing little graphic. Oh, as Websy is about to get overtaken, it's 2, and that means that Huff and Dorback, Owen as well on the outside there. Huff and Dorback very close to bumping wheels of Websy. There's the 3 of them still going at it, and Owen staying in this. Very brave from Owen. The doors keep on closing, and Owen keeps on backing out of it. Manages to live to fight for another day. But 3-1 usually don't go there, and they all found that out very quickly. Huff and Dorback still in the lead of this race after being overtaken by Websy, but then retaking it on the second DRS straight. See there how much time CJ's lost. He's in the background there. 2.1 seconds off Slazenger Volvo. We're on lap 16 of 29, over half distance now. To close in on the end of this race. Binary currently scoring 12 points. CJ currently scoring 6. Huff and Dorback gets to look at Websy, overtake him yet again. And Owen getting ever so close to it as well as we lose a front wing end plate. What was that? Was that Owen's car? I'm not sure. That's Websy's car. Websy has collided with the back of Huff and Dorback there, and he's done himself some wing damage, and he'll have to come in to get that replaced, surely. That's massive damage, which usually results in a massive loss in pace. He's going to try and keep Owen behind for the time being and not lose too much time, but surely he's going to come into the pits now and switch onto the medium tyres, go for broke. And I've been saying Websy this entire time as Websy does go off. Websy goes off and crashes into the wall, takes out his front wing. We've got a virtual safety car. I've been saying Websy this entire time. It was Huff and Dorback who had the front wing end plate missing. But I guess I was tempting fate, as into the pits come all these drivers now. Last ditch effort from my Mr. DJ CJ, boxing onto the mediums with a virtual out. Binary and Owen have passed the pit lane entry and will not be able to come in under the VSC. Everyone else has gotten a pit stop. Huff and Dorback did not change his wing though. I wonder if he didn't get the time to. And Binary overtakes Owen for the lead of this race. Takes the lead of this race against Owen. And he's currently scoring 25 points and looking at yet another win, while the rest of the drivers have boxed. Chris Takis moving up past Huff and Dorback as well. Huff and Dorback really struggling with his front wing. I really wonder if the crew didn't get the message to change the wing as well. This man right here, it's all to play for CJ at the moment. Goes up, flies around the outside of Cottony Goblin and makes his way into 6th place on those medium tyres. And this may go all the way to the end now. So we may see Huff and Dorback box again. Or not, maybe he's going to go for broke. He is going to go for broke. He's got no choice. Owen way up the road, 10 seconds. He's actually gaining on them though. We've got yellow in sector 1. Not sure who that belongs to. And all these drivers at the moment. Chris Takis has closed in on Huff and Dolbach. And Huff and Dolbach might not fight this. He does not fight this. He's gaining enough time on Owen to know that he doesn't need to fight Chris. He does need to stick within his DRS though. And that's exactly what he will try to do. As lapping the back marker there, the two of them. And you think Huff and Dolbach, yeah, just letting off the accelerator a little bit and just sticking with Chris Takis, hopefully letting him tow him along for the remainder of this race, if he can stick with him. That wing damage is going to hurt though. Keeps on getting very close, doesn't he? He doesn't want to do any more wing damage, that's for sure. Got a caution in sector 3. That is just David Kovalaki getting elapsed though, I think. Or is that Ace, sorry? I think that's Ace. That's Chris Takis' fastest lap of the race so far at 1:25.187. And he is really threatening here for the race win, as we still have 11 laps to go, including this one. Cottony Goblin and Ace have both boxed. See the Ace taking us under the tunnel I mentioned before, the very unique pit lane exit. He's got to see its uniqueness, its individuality a few times today as Huff and Dolbach goes past Chris Takis. Huff believes he's got more pace than the driver with a fully intact wing. Quite interesting. And at the moment, I'm Mr. DJ CJ, quite far back from binary. But we'll see how it all plays out. We've still got 10 laps to go. And it's anyone's guess how it will all end up. Chris Takis has Huff and Dolbach just ahead of him. Slazenger Volvo is not closing up to him. CJ is closing up to Slaz though. Fastest one on track at the moment. I'm the Pog with a 1:25.0. And he's had some adventures today, hasn't he? Down in 7th place. Definitely has the pace to be doing more than that. And yet again, setting the first fastest sector of anybody. Fastest first sector of anybody so far in this session. Webbsy also, with that crash out, was winning the race, was in the lead, had it all ahead of him. You know what they say about Great Lane plans. As Huff and Chris still trading places, towing each other along. CJ starts to close up to Slazenger Volvo now, and he's got that 3-second time penalty to his name. Unfortunately for him, he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to catch up to Binary, who has stayed out on his hard tyres and is going to the end. The rest of the field, most of them anyway, boxed for medium tyres under the virtual safety car. And he had to try something though, did CJ? Had to try something different. He lost places after that little. I don't know if it was an error or a collision, but coming out of the final corner, lost control of the car either way and fell down a few places, ended up a couple of seconds behind the pack that he was running in. And FR Element gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings as well. Five seconds to the car behind, 8 seconds to the leader. Will they be able to do it at this pace? It's not looking like it, is it? Binary has absolutely played this race to perfection at the moment. Gaining 4 places. Ending up in first. After choosing not to go in during the virtual safety car. We have a yellow flag on track though. Who is that? That is Ace stopped on the track, and he's stopped and he's not moving at all. He's facing the other way as well. And in reverse. And is this going to cause a safety car? Doesn't look like it is. Caution in sectors 2 and 3 as well. Ace just not moving whatsoever. Down in 12th place. No safety car as of yet. But that car is on the track and is not moving in the clear path of everyone else. It's lucky that they can't actually collide with it because ghosted, but for all intents and purposes, that car is on the track in a dangerous place and has managed to get going again. Very close. Now it's 3 seconds between Owen and Huff and Dolbach. They've gained 2 seconds in the past 2 laps. Christakis all over the back of Owen, all over the back of Huff. He's looking to go down the inside, maybe. No. Gonna wait for the start finish again. Gonna wait for the DRS zone coming up. Out of turn 5 they go. And these two have just been switching places again and again. And it's been working a treat for them. Somewhat of a mutual understanding. As again we get a yellow flag in sector 3, and it is a safety car as into the back of Chris Takis goes Huff and Dolbach under the safety car as Chris slammed on the brakes. Ace retires from the session. He's been threatening that for a while now. And that's a safety car early on, and that's going to allow Binary to change. To change his tyres, surely. CJ down in 6th place. Into the pits he goes. And this late safety car will really hurt those with penalties. Medium's off, soft's on. For all the drivers in this race. Huff and Dolbach managing to get that new front wing. Finally for him. But he does have CJ ahead of him now. Binary leading this race, coming up to the safety car. Works out an absolute treat for Binary. But now he's under pressure. Now he actually does have some pressure behind him. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. He does have to... FR element gets 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. He does have to now defend. He had a nice gap to Owen behind. He had a nice gap to Chris, Websy, Slaz. He's now on equal footing with them. And he did qualify in 4th place, I think it were. So is that going to be enough? Is that going to be enough pace to then go into race trim and lead this race from lap 25 onwards, I'd say? we've got a few drivers yet to catch the crocodile. This train of cars, all following the safety car at a minimal pace around the safety car deeming a safe pace, which these drivers can follow and into the pits. As Websy gets a 10-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flags on his way into the pit lane. That's absolutely ruined Websy's chances of anything. And they're going to hold him for 10 seconds. So he gets the penalty revoked immediately, which is good for him because, I mean, he could have had it added on at the end. Now he gets to at least have a chance to catch up to the back. But will he have enough time? That is the question. Websy now on his way out of the pits. Cotton and Goblin also on his way out of the pits. These two, 9th and 10th. Only one place left in this race that you can finish that does not pay for points. Or pay with points. And it's a safety car at the end of the race in Abu Dhabi that will decide the championship. It won't decide the championship, but it will decide. It will play a factor in the end of it. Oh, I'm getting flashbacks. I didn't put it out there. Don't blame me. Binary's team got on the radio and said we only need one more lap. And the FIA said, how about 4? Now then, Binary has to dictate the pace of this pack and decide when he should go or when he should not. And at the moment, he's slowed them down and he's trying to bunch them up as much as possible to maybe allow them to, you know, trip over each other a little bit. Slaz and CJ, second off the back of the field. Need to close that hole up ASAP as they do so. And it looks like Binary has punched the accelerator with his foot, full knuckles, and gone. And Owen now 6 tenths behind. Chris Takis just 3 tenths behind. And that's who he's got to worry about at the moment. Owen, very much a non-threat for Binary at this late stage in the race. With that penalty, he's going to be worried more about the other two behind if they can keep pace. And Chris Takis at the moment looking under pressure from Slazenger Volvo early on. He's looking like he's going to be losing a podium place here. Slaz all over the back of Chris Takis. They're coming through turn 5 as they round out the hairpin and come up to DRS straight. But there's no DRS for this lap. It'll be on the next lap that they get DRS. Unfortunately for Chris, that means he's not going to have to deal with the charging Slaz behind, who moves out of the toe to have a little look, see what his chances are like. And CJ has moved up into 5th place. Huff and Dorback remaining in 7th. CJ on an absolute charge at the moment, trying to remain a valid part of this race. As Websy obviously boxed and allowed CJ up a place. And Websy didn't box for soft tyres. And Slaz, at the moment, 4 tenths between him and Chris. At the moment, Chris not doing enough to make an impression on Binary, as Owen is all over the back of Binary at the moment. And DRS is now activated as he crosses this line. DRS enabled. Fastest man on track at the moment, Websy with a 24.603. Oh, what could have been Websy. CJ trying to close up to the back of Slaz, but he's not got the pace at the moment. Zyme the Pog overtakes CJ for 5th place. The two of them running side by side. CJ with no DRS whatsoever is a sitting duck on the back straight. He's getting overtaken by 3 cars, maybe. Gonna have to be late on the brakes. Tries to be late on the brakes, but it's not gonna be enough. Websy overtakes him. 7th place goes to Websy. He's gonna take DRS now from Websy, but that is a massive turn of events. CJ now down in 8th place. Websy overtaking Huff and Dolbach. Huff and Dolbach down in 7th with all over the back of them is our Mr. DJ CJ. Having a little look as Owen has taken first place away from Binary. Now has to shoot off up the road and get outside 3 seconds of Binary, who will try to hunt him down, try to keep the DRS. He's got Chris Takis though on the back of him. Binary will be having to look ahead and in his mirrors at the same time. As it stands, Binary winning this championship. He just has to keep a level head. At the moment, Binary also winning this race. Not on track. After the penalty is conceded by Owen, he'll drop behind as Slaz makes his way past Chris Takis and sets off after Binary. And that's exactly what Slaz has been waiting for. Chris has been the stopgap in the overtake for Binary. As Binary has a look to see if he can get past Owen. He tries to be later on the brakes. Owen much later on the brakes, meaning that Binary has to back out of it. And out of the corner they go, out of turn 7. And Binary still, somehow, some way, still close to the back of Owen. I don't know how he's managed to do that, to be honest. That's incredible. It's actually closer to Owen, then Slaz was closer to Binary, even though Binary had to brake a bit unorthodox. Going into that corner. Back into the lead of this race then. And we're coming up now to the final lap. They go through the final sector. The only driver that's not in it is FR Element as Cotton and Goblin leaves the session. In the final stages. And Owen on the back of Binary at the moment. But Binary looking at a race win here. And a championship win. Now or never for all the drivers behind. It's very much out of CJ's hands at the moment. He's behind Huff and Dolbach. He's down in 8th place. He's got that time penalty as well. It's in everyone else's hands as Owen loses the back end. Can't put any pressure on Binary. Out of turn 5 as they head down to turn 6 now. Captain the Goblin rejoins the session. And Owen has a little look. Thinks better of it. Slaz overtakes Owen though. Owen fighting tooth and nail for that, trying to be the driver ahead. Don't know why, because when they come up to the line, it means that Slaz is going to get DRS. Owen's going to get DRS, but Slaz has got the toe because Slaz is on the racing line. Owen fighting it, damned and dear, but cannot fight it any longer. Slaz remains on the inside. Owen fighting. Slaz loses the back end though, and Owen manages to take back the place, even though he's got that penalty. Fights it to remain ahead on track. But here we go then. He's absolutely done everything possible to do. He was 21 points ahead at the start of this race. He's now going to go on to win this race from 4th place. An absolute blinder of a strategy. Binary crosses the line and wins Season 5 of RCR and the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Well done. Congratulations. It's well deserved. Honestly, it has been an incredible season. All the way down to nearly to the absolute wire. And he's done it. He has achieved 23 weeks of attending every Tuesday, 9:30 p.m, making sure that he's practiced up enough. He's won 9 races this season. I believe 10. I'm not sure. I can't remember if the stat has been changed or not. But either way, massive congratulations to Binary. And ends it with the most wins. Ends the championship with the most wins this season. I'm Mr. DJ CJ. Can do nothing more. Concedes to 2nd place. It's now guaranteed 2nd for CJ in the championship. Finishes the runner-up. And it's this man here, though, that's managed to pull out all the stops and win the race when it looked so unpredictable. Only this man predicted that he'd be on top. A feeling of elation and relief that he doesn't have to wait one more week to know that all the commitment, all the hours that he's put in would have to wait one more week. And the Pog says, I'll take 5th after that horrible start. I agree. Well done to you. So then we'll go through our drivers' finishing order one more time. Binary wins the race and wins the RCR Season 5 Drivers' Championship and takes the Constructors' Championship along with Mr. CJ, who finishes the runner-up in the championship. Saz and Volvo, a massive second, started. In fact, Binary started 5th on the grid. Never mind. Either way, Saz finishes 2nd, Chris 3rd. That's our podium. Websy in 4th. I'm the Pog 5th. Owen 6th. Huff 7th. I'm Mr. CJ 8th. Cotton in 9th. And David Kovalaki in 10th. I'm the Pog getting the fastest lap of the race. That's your finishing top 10. I believe it was FR Element that finished just outside of that in 11th. So then, wow, really not much else to say. I really appreciate everybody that stuck around with us for this season. It's been very interesting. It's been incredible that they've managed to keep at it, keep going at it all the way down. Like I said, it's 23 weeks. 23 weeks is half a year, nothing to be sniffed at. And CJ and Binary fought it out all the way to the end. The two of them toing and froing between who was in the lead of the championship. There was just so much going on, so much in it. And you couldn't put anything between the two of them. I'm trying to find, there's something somewhere that tells me, I think it's the driver's standings actually. There we go. Yeah, so CJ led the championship. So Lex, we all remember Lex from this race, started on pole, actually led for 6 races of the season from Bahrain all the way to Miami. 6 rounds he was in the lead. And then CJ took the lead, but then quickly lost it just a round after that, with Binary in the lead of the championship for 2 more rounds. Monaco and Canada. Then CJ took it back in Portugal, and then Binary took it back in Austria. Then CJ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 races in a row that Binary had to put up with him not in the lead of the championship. And it came down to Mexico, where Binary finally pulled ahead 2 points over Mr. CJ, and then went on to finish the season the winner of the championship. It was a great season, honestly. Like, if you can go back and watch any of them, honestly do so, because each race had its own unpredictability and its own its own entertainment. They all were incredibly unique. Either way, I'd like to thank you all for watching and joining me throughout this entire season. We are back again one more time where seasons should end, and that is Brazil. Although we've got the 2 championships now decided, there is no doubt that will be an incredible race. So please do join me for that. I'd like to thank anybody that followed me, anybody that subscribed. If you are on YouTube, I really do appreciate that as well. It is massively appreciated, anyone who follows me. So thank you very much. It means a lot, basically. Like, even if you just follow, even if you just watch, you don't have to follow, you don't have to subscribe. Anybody that spectates, it means that I'm not just talking to myself. So really appreciate that. What else to say? That's about it, really. Thank you very much again. We'll be back again next week for the final round, 9:30 p.m. UK time, and we'll be in Brazil, Sao Paulo. Thank you. Bye-bye.